All right, day 3 from Senior Bowl practices in Mobile, Alabama is in the books. I'm Rob Lehocky, along with Phil Savage, the executive director of the Senior Bowl. And Phil, you mentioned a couple of offensive linemen that impressed you yesterday in North practice, and there's another big guy that impressed you today.
Yeah, Brian Winters of Kent State, played left tackle during his college career, projects best to the left guard position. He's measured at 6'3½", 310 pounds, but he's got a thick, wide body, and he's been terrific protecting the quarterback in the one-on-one pass pro. He's done a terrific job, and he made an impression this morning.
Outside of the big fellows on the north, who stood out in practice today?
Well, I thought this morning 2 receivers seemed to emerge a little bit. They've been a bit under the radar. Chris Harper from Kansas State is a physical-looking presence, athletic build, and he made some catches today on contested footballs where he literally played basketball and out-muscled the opponent for it. So he was productive this morning. And then Aaron Millette, speaking of production, 304 career catches at Elon University. He seemed to wiggle free this morning and made some grabs also. So I think people are now recognizing that there's maybe a bit more to this player in terms of not only his pass catching, but he's done a great job blocking this week as well.
And real quick, scouts this year are getting a little bit more of an opportunity to see these guys in more one-on-ones. Is something you institute, more one-on-ones between the DBs and the receivers?
Yeah, we try to emphasize to the 2 coaching staffs that, hey, the one-on-ones are really the tapes that the NFL evaluators will go back and watch after this game. So both Jim Swartz of the Lions and Dennis Allen of the Raiders have done a really good job, and we appreciate them advocating that for these players.
The South team just wrapped up its 3rd practice here. Who stood out for the South today?
Well, staying on the interior line, Larry Warford, the guard from Kentucky, I think there were probably middle-of-the-road feelings on him coming into this game. I think he's absolutely opened some eyes here. He's been terrific at both left guard and right guard. Came in at 333 pounds. He may be a little heavy, but he has played snap to whistle here, which he didn't always do in college, and I think he's certainly had his stock go up a notch or 2 here in Mobile.
Anybody else? I think the Cal center, Schwenke.
Yeah, Brian Schwenke, again, as a center guard, I think that position versatility has helped him. He's a feisty competitor on the inside. People can critique the body type and the way he looks, but the way he plays has been impressive, and I think he's certainly helped himself here as well.
You like the big boys up front. You've had several guys that have jumped out for you. What about some of the other guys, maybe the quarterbacks? Who's jumped out for you?
Well, I think when you look at the quarterbacks, you've got to give them some leeway here because they're learning a new offense. They're throwing to new receivers. The terminology isn't always clean. But the thing that's been interesting to me is I think that the 3 South quarterbacks were probably overanalyzed during the fall. Tyler Wilson, Landry Jones, and E.J. Manuel. The quarterbacks on the North squad were probably under-scouted because they were not as well known over the summer. Talking about Ryan Nassib from Syracuse, Mike Glennon from NC State, and then Zach Dysert from Miami of Ohio. And I think the scouts were really interested in seeing those 3 more so than the Southern quarterbacks. But at the end of the day, based on the performance to this point, I think you could argue that the South quarterbacks have thrown the ball cleaner. I think they've been more accurate, and I think they've handled being in a new offense a little better than the North QBs to this point.
All 6 quarterbacks, you said earlier in the week you'd like to see maybe 1 or 2 emerge, and has that happened?
I think there have been glimpses and flashes almost for all of them at different times. Mike Glennon makes a couple wow throws, and then Ryan Nassib rolls out and makes a throw or 2, and then you go to the South side, and I think Landry Jones has thrown a crisp ball all week. Tyler Wilson seems to have adjusted his throwing motion, shortened it up some, and I think that has impressed people because what they see with that is here's a player who hasn't played since November. Arkansas goes 4-8, and he's not wasted any time trying to get ready for the draft in this particular game, the Senior Bowl. He's gone back and tried to make some improvements, and then E.J. Manuel has been fairly effective as well.
Well, all 6 guys will have another chance to prove themselves in front of the scouts and the NFL on Thursday. That's the final day, really, of full practices, and they won't even be in pads. And then Friday will be their walkthrough, and of course Saturday is the game, and you can always prove something on the game here at Senior Bowl at Ladd-Peebles Stadium. That's it for SeniorBowl.com. We'll have more updates as the week progresses.